This time last year, I was working in a supermarket. Now I'm a social media marketing manager with a 4-figure side hustle, sharing the cozy video games that I love. So in this video, I thought I'd share the 4 steps that took me to go from living on minimum wage to earning an extra £2,000 a month just from my hobby. I'm going to break down how much I earned at each stage of my business, share the different ways I've tried to make money from gaming, and the key lessons I've learned so you can do the same. And at the end of this video, I'll share the kit that I use in my gaming setup and the resources that help me scale my business. But before we begin, I would just want to be honest with you, because it feels like it's taken me a lifetime to get to this point. I remember what it felt like to put hours into a stream and only have 2 people tune in, or to post a new YouTube video and only get a handful of likes. It's discouraging to say the least, and sometimes I just wanted to quit. Really, it felt like I was just having an identity crisis, like trying to be the person that I thought everybody else wanted me to be. But it was videos like this on YouTube that gave me the courage to continue, and it taught me the skills that I needed to achieve my goals. Seeing other gamers succeed and turn their hobby into a cozy business inspired me to keep going. And that's why I'm sharing this video with you today, because my goal is to hopefully help you make money from gaming. So let's start with step 1, how I went from nothing to £500. So probably like many of you, I started with content creation back in 2020. I was working the hardest I'd ever had to work, and it was a really scary time for me. I remember one awful day during that time when the queues in my supermarket spanned the entire length of the store and I was serving back-to-back customers. I just took myself off the toilets and cried, because I pictured myself sitting in that till for the next like 10, 20 maybe years, and I couldn't even bear it. I felt so hopeless in that moment. That same night, while I was playing on my Nintendo Switch just to escape my reality, I decided to put all of my savings into buying my first ever PC, so I could teach myself how to stream my gameplay. I just thought if I could make money from playing my video games, I'd never have to work again. So I streamed every night for a week to get Twitch affiliate. And although this was an incredibly hard time for me, because I was working 40 hours plus a week, and then in the evenings I was working 3 to 4 hours just on my Twitch streams, it became a pivotal moment in my life, because it taught me a lesson that would go on to make me thousands playing video games. And that lesson was the power of community. Having other people around me who actually just liked hanging out with me and watching me play video games and cared about seeing me succeed on Twitch was how I made my first £500, and that came from subscriptions and donations. Now let me share a tip with you on how to grow your own community. Commit to showing up, whether it's streaming gameplay or creating YouTube videos or sharing posts on social media. Consistency builds trust and keeps your audience coming back. I made it a point to stream every night after work, because I knew consistency was the key to growing my audience. Now let's move on to step number 2, and I think this was around 2021 for me. How I went from £500 to £1,000. I was 36 when I got into Twitch streaming, and I was so nervous about starting because I just felt so old. I watched every video on YouTube about how to set up my Twitch stream and the best software to use and the kit that I needed. I would spend hours on my days off just speaking to other micro streamers that I'd made friends with and just helping each other out with tech related issues. I honestly thought this was my way out of my minimum wage job. It just seemed so easy. All I had to do was play my favorite games and start a Discord server for my subscribers to hang out after stream. They would sub and donate and I'd be able to quit my job. At least that's what everybody on YouTube was telling me, but I found out that was not the case. And after a year, I burnt out. I lost all the money I made and went straight back down to 0. Between you and me, this was a really low point in my life. I was ashamed to be in my late 30s and unable to pay my bills. All I had wanted was a successful business, just doing what I loved. But even though streaming games wasn't the quick way to earn money that I thought it was going to be, it did teach me a valuable lesson. And that has been the key to my success with content creation today. Lesson number 2. If you want to make money from gaming, you have to learn new skills. The reason I failed at live streaming was simply because I didn't understand how to brand myself. I didn't know what games to play, and I didn't know how to market myself. And I didn't know the different ways to make money. So I decided to quit streaming and disappear from social media for a whole year to learn some new skills. Skills like brand identity, content writing, video editing, and basic business skills. And if you're a gamer just getting started this year, then I highly recommend learning these skills too if you want to become a content creator. It was actually these skills that helped me land my first paid brand collaboration. It was for a mobile game that I was playing, and I ended up earning about £350, I think it equates to about $450 just for posting a 30-second TikTok about it. And at the time I had less than 2,000 followers. Not a huge amount of money, obviously, but it did give me a lot of hope. After my year out, I came back stronger the following year because I decided to try turning my love of gaming into a business one last time, but with a completely different strategy. The pivot would help me double my previous year's earnings. Instead of relying on subscriptions from viewers, I decided to start my own gaming blog with the goal of getting it monetized through ad revenue within its first year. And utilising those skills that I'd gained through online courses, joining other communities, and watching hundreds of YouTube videos, I managed to grow my blog from 0 to 100,000 views in its first year. And would you believe it, I was accepted by an ad network before the year was out and was able to start monetizing my blog. Within 12 months, I scaled my gaming blog from 100,000 views to 300,000 views and earned over £2,000 in ad revenue. I honestly could not believe it. I had finally found a way to make money from gaming without relying on subscriptions. Seeing that money hit my bank account was the catalyst I needed to keep going. But something else unexpected happened during that year. I managed to grow a TikTok and a YouTube following and started working with more brands. This took me from £350 to over £1,000 a month. Just an FYI, the figures that I'm sharing are just from my business and before tax. They don't include my job earnings. Just thought I'd mention that because I'm sure it's going to come up in the comments. And this brings me on to lesson number 3. You need to diversify your income streams. I was so close to giving up when I couldn't make Twitch work for me. But when I pivoted, not only did I start earning more money, but I also found I could be myself. I stopped playing all the popular games that I thought I was supposed to be playing because that's what everybody else was playing, and started playing all the little cozy games that I love. But although I found success with blogging, if you're a beginner, I don't actually recommend you start a website. The reason is it requires high-level skills and it can be expensive. Looking back, I can see that there are more ways that I could have made money that are free to start and much less time-consuming. Which brings me on to step 4. How I went from making £1,000 to over £2,000 a month. At this point, I was 39 and I've slowly been building up my presence on TikTok. This was back in 2023 when I saw an opportunity to share game recommendations because there weren't any women my age talking about cozy video games. So I used the skills that I had learned over the past year and started making content. And within a few months, my account took off. I was getting thousands of views, sometimes millions of views every time I posted. Honestly, I was so excited. I felt like I was adding so much value to the world and helping women find games they actually wanted to play, not just the games their partners were playing. People were commenting on my videos thanking me so much for sharing these cozy game recommendations, and they just wanted to see more from me. This honestly lit a fire under me, and after my TikTok started to take off, I decided to repost my content to YouTube Shorts, Pinterest and Instagram. I was initially a faceless account, so I would just share clips of my Nintendo Switch or clips of gameplay. My account quickly grew to over 20,000 followers, which is insane, and I started to land even more brand sponsorships and work with big names like Sega. And I finally hit my first £2,000 profit month when I was 39 years old. And I cannot even describe the feeling. I was beyond happy. Going from living paycheck to paycheck and struggling financially for years to making an extra £2,000 a month felt like I'd won the lottery. I realised then the crucial aspect of being a creator that nobody was talking about. And that's the power of compounding. This has to be one of the biggest lessons that I have learned. Each skill I learned, every post I made, and every connection I fostered built upon the last. At first, those results felt small, almost invisible. But over time, those small efforts started to snowball into bigger opportunities. The £350 I made during my first ever brand collaboration may not sound a lot, but it was proof to me that I was on the right track. By sticking with it, I turned that small win into multiple collaborations and an extra £2,000 a month. But honestly, it wasn't always £2,000 a month. My earnings fluctuate a lot. Some months I'll earn £500, other months I'll earn £3,000. which made me realize I would still be heavily reliant on my day job to pay my bills. And that's when I realized I needed a consistent income. I took a critical look at what I was making and decided to focus on the ones that were likely to yield a return. I was making £2,000 on sponsorships, £600 on UGC, £1,000 on digital products, and £250 on ad revenue. That's when I realized that digital marketing should have been a skill that I learned in the very beginning. It took me so long to get into it because I've been living under the illusion that the only way for gamers to make money was from subscriptions during live streams. And my chances of being a famous Twitch streamer were slim at best. I just did not have the time anymore. With digital products, I could make an ebook packed with all the skills and the knowledge that I've been learning from all my years of being a content creator, and then just earn money while I'm sleeping. I generally could not believe it when I woke up and I realized that actually people have been buying from me while I was asleep. I realized that this was the business I should have started in the first place, and what I recommend new creators do now. All you need to know is how to create a digital product and where to market it. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, that's okay for you. You've got thousands of followers, but you don't need a large following to be able to do digital marketing. I actually learned a way to promote yourself without ever showing your face. Remember how I said earlier that I started a faceless account by just showing my Nintendo Switch and the gameplay on it? Well, if I had known about digital marketing then, I never would have even had to rely on brand sponsorships. In this video here, I do show my face because it's a more recent video, but I'm not even talking in it. I'm just miming to a sound, and it's had over 4,000 comments, and all those comments are going to my digital products. Now, I don't have time to go over the details in this video, but if you'd like to know more, I have linked the exact course that I took to learn digital marketing in the description below. And as promised, I also said I would share the kit that I use in my gaming setup that helped me get started. So I've also linked my free guide in the caption below too, because I'm just giving you everything in this video. In just 3 short years, I was able to turn my life around, and I cannot tell you how much happier I am right now. I went from feeling trapped and unable to pay my bills to making an extra £2,000 a month profit at the age of 40, proving that making money online is not just for the kids. With the skills that I have learned, I was able to leave my supermarket job and get a full-time job working as a social media marketing manager, utilizing the skills that I have been teaching myself. And I know the millennials watching this will appreciate this too. I've also been able to save up a house deposit so we can finally get our first house in our 40s. So if you're watching this and you're thinking about becoming a gaming content creator, I just want you to know that it is possible for you. But if you're just starting out, remember that growth takes time. And if you manage to make more than £350 in your first year as a gaming content creator, then you're already doing better than me.